Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AVI Voice Interview Program. So today, I have an interesting topic which we will explore the new development in the Russia-Ukraine war. So as for the introduction, the Russia-Ukraine war stretched into another year, and the recent developments suggest an escalation that could have a far-reaching implication beyond the Eastern Europe. Additionally, the reports indicates that North Korea may be deploying troops to support Russia, marking an unprecedented international involvement in the conflict. And this shift could also signal new alliance and strategy as the Russia seeks support amid the rising pressure from the West. And this unusual alliance also raised important questions. For example, what are the motivation behind the North Korea involvement in the conflicts, and what might this mean for the security in the region and beyond, and so on. And on the other hand, with the 2024 BRICS summits in Kazan of Russia, the discussions around alternative economic frameworks and international security alliance are expected to take the center stage. And notably, this summit could reshape the geopolitical landscape and influence on the ongoing responses to the conflict. And today, we are diving into the implication of these events and what they mean for the global security alliance and the future trajectory of the Russia-Ukraine war. So joining us today to break down this critical development is Dr. Joseph Matthew, who is a senior professor at the Belt International University. And we will be exploring a question around North Korea's motive and the possible responses from the global powers and China, and what the BRICS summit could mean for the future of this conflict. So, greeting Professor Joseph for your presence here today.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me again, and it's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Professor. So let's start with the most recent and surprising development, that the involvement of the foreign troop in any conflict is significant, but North Korea reported that deployment of their troop to Russia marks a new level of the international intervention. And to this point, observers are questioning what each side stands to gain. So the question is, what are the primary motivation for North Korea to send their troops to aid Russia in this conflict with Ukraine, and what might Russia offer in return for this unprecedented support?
Thank you very much for your question, and it's a very hot question. Before I elaborate your answer to your question, but I would like to inform you that actually it is not happening just immediately. Actually, if you go back and see from the past 2 years, Russia and the North Korea, they are interacting, and their communication has surged dramatically, and they have opened a new avenue of the cooperation. So, on the background of this cooperation and interaction on June. The leader of the North Korea, he traveled all the way to the Russia, and June 20, North Korea and Russia, they signed a very major defense treaty, and according to this defense treaty, if one country is subject to an armed invasion, the other would provide military and other assistance with all means in its position. So what does it mean in here? That if the treaty said that if the country is attacked, either country is attacked from the outside forces, so other country will help them materially with the forces and all these things that what they have at their disposal. So its treaty simply mean that if any country attack on North Korea, it means they consider attack on Russia. If they attack on Russia, it means that North Korea consider attack on the North Korea. It's the same of the allies of the NATO also. They have one of the clause, they say like this. So what is the meaning here? It means that now the North Korea has opened the door where they believe that they will have a support, strategic support, political support, and then in the case if the South Korea or America will attack So Russia will be behind them. Before that, they were alone. They were isolated. But now, when they have signed the treaty with Russia, so they believe now they have a friend who will protect me in the case if there is a attack on North Korea. Now, second part of your question is what the North Korea will get in return. So there are 5 important advantage. There are 5 points that I believe I analyze it that probably the North Korea will get. Number one point is that North Korea will get economic support from Russia in terms of the petrol or the gas or other things. Second part is food security. You know that Russia is a big exporter of the food, beef and wheat, and North Korea have a scarcity of the food and has been a big problem. And then North Korea was relying for the food for handout from South Korea. So now when he's opened the door, Russia opened the door, so North Korean believe. So he's securing the food security for his people. So that is the second point. Now third point is that because isolation for such a long time of the North Korea is conventional weapon is become outdated. So the North Korea is looking the technology and the help and support of Russia to update its conventional weapon system, which is completely outdated. Number 4 is also North Korea looking at the transfer of the high-tech technology for the weapon, for the conventional weapon system. So he looking for the... And number 5th point, which I believe is that North Korean, they believe that when this soldier who deployed, and they will be in the front line, so they will be learning a modern warfare technique. And then when this soldier will return to North Korea, so they will bring back what their technology and the knowledge about the modern warfare. And in the modern warfare, the drone technology is now they develop, which is actually North Korea is not aware of it, because a drone is being used in the war now as a weapon. So the North Korea do not have that technology. They are not aware of it. So when this soldier will be deployed there, they will be learning this technology and the system, how does it work, and when they will return, they will be putting this system in the North Korea army. So these are the 5 advantages I believe in return North Korea will get. So it is sort of like a situation here. Russia need North Korea because he is facing the recruitment problem of the army, he is short of the army. And then North Korea looking for the partnership because he has North Korea have a threat from the South Korean and American. So it is sort of like a win-win strategy here. So North Korea also winning because now the North Korea have a partner, strategic partner, not the economic partner, strategic partner who will support if the North Korea will attack by South Korea or American forces. Russia is protected by because Russia have an advantage supplying the troops and also the weapon. So these things for the both country when they concluded this thing. So the thing was in the mind they need each other. So friend is the friend in need is a friend indeed. So they believe. So they rely on each other, and that is a motive, and that is a reason. So the deployment of the North Korean troop into the Russia is a direct result of signing of the defense treaty on June 20.
So yes, thank you so much, Professor, for your elaborated response to the above questions. So on the other hand, North Korean involvement also add the complexity to an already tense geopolitical situations. And the Asia-Pacific region could see this destabilizations if the North Korea strengthens its ties with the Russians through the active military engagement and also through the treaty that you mentioned earlier. So from your point of view, how does the North Korea's direct involvement in the conflict impact the security landscape in the Asia-Pacific region and possibly the wider global order?
Yes, thank you very much. It's a very important question because you say direct involvement of the North Korea in the war, how it will impact regionally. Before I give you the answer of this question, let me give you some background of the North Korea. I give you some fact and figure about the North Korea army. Where the North Korea stand today? Okay, now today the North Korea has active. Now North Korea have an active army of 1.2 million. Active army, and they have a reserve around over 600,000. So if you combine together army, they have about 2 million. Now, according to statistic, the North Korea stand number 4 in the world in the army strength. China, India, USA, and the North Korea. So strength, if you're talking about the strength of the army, so North Korea stand number 4 in the world. Now, after this, North Korea North Korea conventional or army is divided into the 5 part. You can categorize in the 5 part. Number 1 is the ground forces. Number 2 is the Navy. Number 3, the air and the anti-air force, special operation force, and number 5 is the rocket force command. So the whole army is completely motorized, and they have their section. Which section will control what? Number 3 part is North Korea is also the nuclear state. So according to the one estimate, around North Korea have around around 40 to over 100 assemble nuclear warhead. Assemble nuclear warhead. They have around over 100 nuclear warhead, and then they have a delivery system. They have a capability of delivering up to the over 12,000 kilometer. So now they have a conventional weapon, and then they have a nuclear arsenal, which is around maybe 1,000 ballistic missile. They have ICBM, so they have over 1,000. Now after that, number 3, they have a stockpile of the chemical weapon. According to the one estimate, they have around 250,000 to 5,000 ton of chemical weapon. Chemical they can use in the warfare. So now you understand the North Korea is capable of the three side of the weapons. They have a conventional weapon, nuclear weapon, and also the chemical weapon. Now, your question is the direct involvement of the North Korea, how it will impact. It will be a disaster. It will be disaster. Now, this is a time the NATO, especially the Western country and America, should realize that this war should be stopped now, before it gets late. So, involvement of the North Korea directly will have a disastrous impact not only in the Southeast Asia or East Asia, but globally, because it will affect the food security and the food security, and also the peace, economic development, and supply chain. They will all affect by this thing. So you have to understand this thing, that North Korea is a well-equipped country as long as concerning about the weapon. So direct involvement will be disaster. So my point of view is very clear. that they should have to come up some idea, some sort of negotiation, political settlement of this issue. From the last 2 years, China have been trying very hard to stop this war. The China have been trying from the last 2 years, trying, and then they presented a 12-point peace plan, and then most of the country around the world, they accepted it. China is trying to bring in the peace between these two countries, but actually the problem is Ukraine. Ukraine is not listening what the country who are supporting peace are talking about, but he's listening to those people who want to perpetuate the war and continue the war in the region. So actually, this is a time involvement of the North Korea is a sign that this war should be stopped now. If it is not, maybe it will be changed into the wider, or the war will be expanded and it will be disaster globally. Yes.
Yeah, interestingly, you mentioned the North Korea army stand at the number 4 in the world,
Yes.
behind India, and the US.
Yes.
And I believe that sooner or later, inevitably, this North Korea will have a huge and a significant impacts to the world and also beyond to the regional security.
Correct.
Yes. So moving on, as the 2024 BRICS summit in Russia just concluded about 2 weeks ago, if I'm not wrong. Do you think the North Korean involvement in the Russia-Ukraine war will influence to the bloc? And how might it impact the cohesion and goals of the BRICS alliance?
Actually, thank you very much. This is also the BRIC we concluded on 24th of October. Actually, the 16th BRIC conference was held in Russia. And then Russia has an opportunity to show to the world that despite all the sanction, Russia is still stronger in the international platform. Still, he have alliances, he have a partner and a friend around the world. So the summit was very successful, and this summit were attended by the 10 members instead of the 5, because BRICS is the 5 members. They have Brazil, Russia, India, China, and the South Africa. But the last year they expanded the bloc. Now they have a 5 more member, which is Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. So now they have this is the first time these 10 member countries they come together in Russia, and it's for very successful. So actually, and apart from this, there were 32 more countries. They attended this BRICS conference, and they were as an observer, or some of the countries they are willing to become a member of that. So look like it is expanding. So the BRICS, actually the motive of the BRIC is representing the global south, representing the developing or underdeveloped countries. So actually it has a very big impact on not only on the regional politics but also global at large. So North Korea alliance or North Korea deployment of the troop, I mean this question was raised in the BRICS, but then again it is between Russia and North Korea. It's not between the BRICS. So the question was not dealt very clearly, and I don't bring any deployment of the North Korea troop in the Russia will affect the Russia relationship with the BRICS country, because they understand that this is their personal, the internal issue between the Russia and the North Korea, not with the BRICS and the BRIC and the Russia actually. Yes.
So speaking of China, her role in both the BRICS platform and also the wider geopolitical scene means it will likely have a strategic response to North Korean engagement in the war, while analysts are all eye closely to Beijing for Beijing reaction. So I would like to know from your point of view, what role might China play in response to North Korea deployment in Russia, and how could this influence China's position and her relationship with Russia and also the other BRICS members?
Okay, thank you very much. This is a very important. What exactly means? What is the China role in the BRICS? Actually, China is a main trade and investment partner of the BRICS nation. It's a very important partner in BRICS. So development depend. So the China is a main player in the BRICS. In the term of the import, export, the trade is a big supporter. And most of the except the Brazil and India, other 8 countries are part of the BRI projects. So China's, Belt and Road Initiative. So except India and Brazil, all the 8 other countries are actually part of the BRI projects. So the China have a very good relationship with the BRICS member. And then he's a main player, the main player in the way because in terms of the economic, because actually the total economy of the China is around $18 trillion, which is more than combined of the BRICS economic. So and then China is also the main biggest partner, trade partner of all the BRICS member. Like for example, with the Brazil or the UAE or Saudi Arabia or Iran. So and also the China is a big importer of the Iranian oil and also the Russian oil. So you look at it. So the China role in the BRIC is a major role, is a main role, and then it's driving force. So China is the driving force of economic, politically, and socially or culturally is a driving for the BRICS. So I believe that the China role in the BRICS is very important, and what I believe it, China role will be continue to remain as a very effective and the driving role for another 40 or 50 years. And then there's a chances. There are many countries they want to join the BRICS. Like for example, from the ASEAN, there are 3 countries they are planning to join to the BRICS is Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia. So when you're looking at this, the BRICS, what I'm looking at, the BRIC is expanding and becoming a biggest trading bloc in the global south and become a very powerful, the bloc in terms of the politics, economic, culture, in all way. And if you look at the BRIC analysis, BRICS at present is a consistent of the 45% of the population of the world. So BRICS, 45% of the population and around 37% of the global GDP. So now you look at the scope and the potential of the BRICS that have a 45% of the world population and 37% of the global GDP. And then it's continuing to expand. So maybe I'm thinking about maybe another 5 or 10 years, the number of the membership will go from like a 20 or 25 of the BRIC. So it's becoming a very powerful bloc in the world they can also face with the G7 country, which is the industrial countries, rich country. They can have, because their GDP is far better than G7 also. So I think the BRICS have a great future, and BRIC represent the global south, which is consisted of the developing or underdeveloping country. Thank you. Yes.
So thank you, Professor, for your response. But one last question before we conclude our interview.
Yes,
so how do you foresee the future role of North Korea to be engaged in the conflict with Russia between Russia and Ukraine, and how will it mean to the potential of concluding the war in the future, and how will it last?
Okay. I have a 3-point here. I'm using your platform to inform to the people who are listening to us and the world. There are 3 points at this point. Number 1, involvement of the North Korea should not be taken lightly. It is a very serious issue. And as I mentioned, the potential in terms of the weapon and army, North Korea is the number 4th in the world. Now, the NATO and the USA and the Western country who are constantly supporting and weaponizing the Ukraine should start thinking about it, how to stop this war before it gets too late. Because involvement of North Korea is not a small thing, it's a very big thing. It is, if the war will be expanded, we will end up with the Third World War. And where you will be using the nuclear and the chemical weapon. Russia also have the biggest stock of the nuclear weapon. Now look at this. Both are nuclear country, North Korea and the Russia. Now they have to come up sort of agreement or political settlement of the war. How to stop this war as soon as possible. Number 1 point. Number 2nd point is lifting the sanction on the North Korea. There are so many sanction embargo on the North Korea from the United Nations, from the USA, from Japan, from South Korea, from other. North Korea is heavily sanctioned country in the world, and it is completely isolated. When you are isolated, then you become radical. You become fundamentals because you do not have a hope. So that's why I say, second thing is they should do something to lift all this sanction and embargo from the North Korea. So that is a basic point. Number 3rd, make the situation integrate the North Korea government and the people into the mainstream of the world community. They should be integrate. World should integrate, should accept North Korea government and the people. Try to facilitate, create the environment where the country and or the people should be integrated in the world community. So these are the 3 things they should do it, so can avoid the bigger disaster. Number 1 is what I said is, stopping the war. Number 2, lifting up the sanction from the North Korea. And number 3rd is facilitating integration of the North Korean government and the people into the world community. These are the 3 points you can do to avoid which the disaster is coming. Because if anything go out of the control, then it's very difficult to bring back. Because both countries, Russia and North Korea, are heavily nuclear country. As I was telling you, North Korea have all 3 weapons. They have a conventional weapon, they have a nuclear weapon, and they also have a chemical weapons. So you have to understand. So world have to realize, for sake of the peace, sake of economic growth, sake of the world security, we need to stop this war immediately.
So yes, thank you so much, Professor, for very insightful and fruitful discussion.
Thank you.
So, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, our discussion today has now come to an end. And once again, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to Dr. Joseph Matu for your time and for joining us today.
Okay, thank you for having me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and we will see you again next week.